Hello, fellow diamond painting addicts, and welcome back to Diamond Painting Anonymous. I'm Daphne, and I'm here today for this week's WIP and Chat. If you're new here, welcome. If you're not new here, welcome back. WIP, W-I-P, stands for Work in Progress, and this is mine. You are welcome and encouraged to go grab whatever you are working on and work alongside while I chat. Or alternatively, you can treat this as a podcast and just listen while I chat. I am going to be working on my flower crazy. As you can see, I'm pretty close to getting done. I've got to finish this row, and then I've got 2 more rows left, and then she will be complete. So I'm going to move things around a bit. I'm going to zoom in so that you can see where I'm working, and I'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. So I'm going to start off with my life update because it's been a doozy of a week. I'm really struggling to maintain my positivity. My husband is always such a ball of sunshine and nothing seems to faze him. Everything is going to work out. It'll all be okay. And I'm sure it probably will. My type A brain is in overthink mode and anxiety mode and worry mode because we got the information. I think I mentioned this last WIP and Chat. Oh, I forgot to start my timer. That his job was going to be ending at the end of January. And of course, nothing ever stays the same. He came home Monday this week to let me know that instead of January, we don't have an exact timeline, but they've been told they think their last day is going to be the 29th of December. So instead of getting another 2 months of work, he's only going to get another month of work, and we're trying to figure out what we're going to do. It's kind of a wait and see game because I'm personally not convinced that they're actually going to get those 2 weeks of work. I'm waiting for something to come down and say after the week of Christmas, for instance, that they're already going to have Monday and Tuesday off for the holiday, that you know what, just take the rest of this week off, and so he won't get a paycheck for that week either, which is super frustrating to not know what's going on. His current plan is to wait and see what happens. So basically, he's planning on not working the month of January. He's planning on working through the 29th of December, and then in January, we will see if they get picked up by another contractor. They've been told a contractor who is remaining in the area will hire all of them, but I don't know that I believe that either. So we'll just have to wait and see. So he's been talking about going storming and doing that. He's got some colleagues who left, I think Friday, he said, to head to the East Coast, the North Coast. What he has been talking about doing is going storming. He has some colleagues who left for the East Coast because there was supposed to be a storm and contractors there had put out work. And he's talked before about going storming and doing that kind of thing, but we've always been a little leery of it because he's never really done it before. I mean, he's gone storming, but he's always done it with the company that he works for. So the company takes care of, finding them hotels, working out flights if they have to fly somewhere. Usually they drive because they're taking their trucks, so there's the company trucks. So if he's just an individual doing it, things are a little bit different. And I said, how do you work out? How do you know where to go? Do you have to pay for your flights and your hotels and everything up front? And just all these questions. And I worry about safety and security too, because if he's traveling alone, plus he's got all of his equipment that he has to take with him, so that can get expensive. And I'm like, are we actually going to make any money? Because when this happened a couple of years ago and he got laid off right before Christmas, after Christmas he ended up going out to California to work for 6 months. But California is expensive, and so finding temporary accommodation and meals out there and everything else, it just didn't feel like we were actually making that much money with him being gone. So he was talking to a colleague who has done this for years, and he basically told my husband, don't worry about it, I will hook you up. He has been doing it for long enough that he has several contractors that he's one of the first people they call because they know he will show up. And I guess many of them offer reimbursements for when you get there. So you're guaranteed that you're not going to be out the money if you have to fly or pay extra for your baggage because your tools are heavy and things like that, hotel rooms and that kind of stuff. So you're not out all of that money. You get a check basically once you show up to kind of cover all those costs, and then you start working. So this colleague has said, yeah, I can hook you up with some contractors. And also he has a group of people. They're all kind of considered solo travelers, but they travel as a group. And he said, so what they'll do a lot of times is, instead of, for example, all of them bringing their climbing equipment, because climbing equipment is heavy, they'll pick a couple of them to bring their climbing equipment. So only those people have to pay for the heavy bags. And then everybody else can kind of just do carry-ons and whatnot for what they need. And they can share tools and take care of each other that way. And I told my husband, that actually makes me feel a lot better, because then he's not really traveling alone. And so just kind of working out the logistics of everything. This guy's done it for so long. He kind of has a system. And if he can show my husband kind of how to do that so that my husband feels comfortable with it, it makes him feel better to know that he's kind of got someone who can show him the ropes. It makes me feel better to know he won't be just kind of out there on his own. Also to find out that there's some, reimbursement. Like the guy said, because it has happened that you go out there for a storm. So, he would pay for a flight to the East Coast or something, get his hotel set up, get there, and then he's out all this money. And when he gets there, oh, the storm wasn't as bad as we thought. We don't need you. Sorry, go home. And then he would be out this money. So that's why a lot of them offer that bonus basically up front, so that they can guarantee that people will show up, because who wants to front, a couple $1,000s and think you have the chance of just being out that money when you're going there to work because you don't have work where you are. So we've got options. While we won't have any income while he waits to find out what happens, we do have money saved and we'll survive. A couple of things that, well, I guess more than a couple of things. One, we have money saved, so we're okay. I mean, I have an emergency fund for this very reason. We've only got one more semester of my son's college to pay for, which is a huge load off of our budget. Our house payment, and even though we have a car payment, they're not much. We are going to be able to use the income that he's making this month. Thankfully, we were pretty much done Christmas shopping, so that expense is out of the way, and everything was basically paid for. We don't have anything we still need to pay off. We do have a credit card we still need to pay off, but we can do that as well. So our bills won't be horrible while we wait, but they're just things that you don't think about. Like, my husband is a foreman at his current job, so he drives a company truck. So we've not had the expense of him having to put miles on his own car, pay for his own gas while he does all of that. He's also had a company phone, but we've maintained his own personal phone, so that expense is not going to be a huge change to our budget. But yeah, it's just kind of a kick in the teeth. And this time it's not his company's fault, but this is the third Christmas since we've been together that something happens towards the end of the year and he gets laid off. I don't know if it's the company's trying to get employees off their books so their bottom line looks good for the last quarter of the year. I know there have been layoffs in other places as well, but it just sucks. While he is not worried at all about it. And in the back of my mind, I'm like, we're planning on moving anyway. He was only going to be with the company another 6 months had none of this happened. So it is what it is. We did sit down and kind of discuss our options to figure out what we wanted to do. Did we want to just take this opportunity to up sticks and just move to Canada now instead of waiting until the summer? Lots of reasons not to do that. One, it's winter, and while the snow is not bad yet, by the time we got everything settled in our household and all of that, it probably would be at least several weeks, if not, I would imagine at the very least a month, and we would be right in the thick of things. It's holidays. My son only has one more semester of school, so I told my husband, I think my preference is to just stay where we are, let my youngest finish up his last semester. We think it's his last semester. He should have enough hours to graduate with this last semester, but he still has to fill out his intent to graduate form. So until he's done that and everything's been given the okay by the university, I'm holding a little bit of money back in reserve in case he has to take a couple of hours. Like, he thinks he's got enough electives and everything so that his hours are correct. And their little automated check sheet, worksheet thing says that he's finished upon completion of his spring semester. But I just want the university to verify that before we decide to go. And also, my youngest nephew will be graduating from high school. I really want to go to that. So if we can wait until June or July, get my son through his last semester, go to my nephew's graduation. That also gives us time to get our house sold, get it ready to be sold, and hopefully find something up in Canada for us to buy. We still need to send our paperwork to the bank. I don't know how that's all going to work now because of the situation with his job. We're just going to cross our fingers and hope it all works out for the best. There's actually a house that I think would be good for us, and it's in our price range. We wouldn't have to do too much to it. I really want a house with at least 2 bathrooms because what we really would like is a separate floor for my son to be on. So kind of like a house with an apartment on a second floor or a basement or something, so that he can kind of have his own space, so that he's still with us, but that we're separated. The one I'm looking at, it has a half bath downstairs. There's enough room in the bathroom they could have put in a shower. I don't know why they didn't do that. I want to see how expensive it would be for us to put in a shower so that there's at least a shower down there. But maybe something else will come up. Maybe we'll get more for our house than we're expecting, and that will let us buy something a little bit bigger in Canada. I don't want to get anything super huge because we want to minimize our expenses as much as we can. But I am now also, after going through, I was cleaning our kitchen the other day and moving some things around because my son has decided he likes to cook now. But when he cooks, he gets things out on the cabinet and then they just stay there. Like, my countertop already drives me crazy because we have a toaster. The Instapot sits on it. We have our ice maker. We have a little place where the dishes that you can't put in the dishwasher, where they dry by the sink. We have the knife block. We have the utensils. We have the air fryer that they constantly use. My stand mixer. And I just feel like our countertop gets so crowded. And then he got out the rice cooker, and then he was making waffles, and those things both stayed on the cabinet, on the countertop. So I was moving things around and finding places for them to go that were not on the countertop. And going through the cabinets, I'm like, why do we have all of this stuff? 90% of it we don't ever use, so why is it in here? So as I'm trying to find places for these things to go up in the cabinets instead of them sitting on the countertop and finding all these things we don't use, I'm like, yeah, I really, really need to just absolutely minimize the amount of stuff that we're taking with us, and then only buy things we actually need and are going to use. Because I feel like there's just so much junk that, like I said, like for example, in our little buffet, which I'm not taking with us because it was my mom's and it weighs a metric ton. We've got like 3 complete sets of silverware, a set for my mom's that was in the buffet, a set for my grandmother that I didn't want to throw away, and then the ones we use every day. And it's like, why? Why do we have all of this stuff? So I'm thinking of being much more ruthless when we do move. I actually considered, it probably won't happen this way, but I actually considered, could we just fit all the things that we want to take in the 2 cars that we're taking? Because really, my adjustable table, the cedar chest, I think are the only 2 pieces of furniture I would absolutely want to take. Everything else we can replace, make do with other things. Things can do double duty. We just don't need all of the things that we have. Our plan currently is to stay through the summer. He's going to wait and see if they get picked up by this other contractor. If they do, then great. Our plan is kind of unchanged. He just has moved employers, no biggie. If not, he will plan to start going storming with this colleague of his and earn some money that way, which is actually something he's kind of wanted to do for a while. He just hasn't really known how to make the leap. And now this opportunity is presenting itself, so I just have to wait and see what happens. In other news, my oldest nephew is officially a college graduate now. He had his commencement ceremony, he went through finals, and he graduated. So he's done and will be starting his job that he had lined up. I think in January is when he starts, I think. My son finished his fall semester. He finished his last final on Monday. He ended up with a B in his math class, which he was kind of annoyed about. He thought he'd done a little bit better than that, but I'm just happy he passed. When he started that math class, I wasn't sure he was going to make it all the way through the semester. So I'm just thrilled that he passed and he doesn't have to take it again. And now he can officially move on to all those classes that required that class. Don't know why, but required that class. And so now he can relax and enjoy his month off until the next semester starts. Hubby and I got notices in the mail. We both have to renew our driver's licenses. He got online. He has a CDL for work. So he got online because apparently now you can renew them online. I didn't even know that was the thing. But I think our licenses here are good for 6 years. So it's been 6 years since I had to get one. My son had to get one when he turned 21, but because he was turning 21, we had to go actually into the DMV because it goes from a vertical license to a horizontal license. So anyway, he was looking at trying to do it online, but he couldn't do that because he has a CDL. So, and you have to make an appointment. You can't just walk in. So he made an appointment. He went there. They looked at it and said, we can't do a CDL here because our local office is not a full service location. So he had to go to a different city to do it. And where they were working at, they were literally right across the street from the DMV office in the town where they are. And it is a full service location. So he went in there and went to renew it. And they said they have him listed in the system as a permanent resident. So they wanted his green card. And he said, well, I don't have a green card anymore because I'm a citizen now. So when you become a citizen, they take your green card and you get this little certificate that shows you're a citizen. Well, he didn't have his certificate with him. So the guy's like, well, I either need your green card or your certificate in order to renew this. And my husband had neither. So third time's the charm. He gets to go back with his certificate, which he did, and finally got his license renewed. For me, I need to decide what I want to do. I think I can renew mine online. You can only renew it online once, and then you have to go back in because they basically just use your picture from your last license. So I don't know if I want to do that or if I actually want to go in and get it done, because if I get their quote unquote real ID, which is basically you go in with your social security card and your birth certificate to prove you're a citizen, and you get a little gold star on your driver's license, and then you can use it to fly, because the rules have changed, which they were supposed to change this year, I think, and now they've extended it, I think, until 2025, that if you fly domestically within the US, you have to have, I don't know why, I was going to say a government issued ID, but your driver's license is that. But you have to prove you're a citizen, basically. So if you don't have the little gold star on your driver's license, even if you're flying domestically, you have to have your passport or you can't fly. I don't know if that's a TSA thing. That's just a government in general thing. I don't know. But I don't know if I want to bother doing that. I already have a passport, and generally when we fly, we're flying to Canada, so I already have my passport and stuff out anyway. The last few times we've flown, that's where we go. I don't travel other places, so I don't know if I want to bother. Doing it online so that I don't have to go in and mess with all of it sounds way easier and faster than going to the office in person. I'm working on this kit. I had 3 containers of this size. I'm down to 1. That tells you how much of it I've completed. So with all this stuff going on, like I said, I'm just kind of struggling to stay upbeat about everything. It's not the end of the world, and I know we're in a much better situation than a lot of people would be with layoffs, but it just, yeah. All right, moving along. That's enough of my sad sack stuff. I got notified that Bitly was making changes. I use Bitly to make short links. Google used to have a URL shortener that you could use for free. That went away. Then I was using something called TinyURL, and then they decided they were going to do away with all of their free options. If you didn't pay, you couldn't use it, and I found Bitly, which had a free option. I just do it because they look cleaner to do links for like canvases and stuff instead of being, long 3-line links. You just get a nice short link. And Bitly's free account, not just links, they also offer QR codes. And if you pay, you can do analytics and you could do like branded links, that kind of thing. I didn't see the need to pay for all of that stuff, but you could do 1,000 links in a month. I think you only got like 1 or 2 QR codes. You can't do the branding stuff at all unless you pay. But like I said, I was just doing it to make them kind of look pretty. So it was fine. I never used, I don't know who would use 1,000 links in a month anyway, but I never did. But I got notified by them that they're changing their offerings basically. So now instead of 1,003 links a month, you only get 10, which I told my husband, I totally get it because they're maintaining those links and stuff. But going from 1,000 for free to 10 seems like a huge cut. I probably will be fine. I don't think I will go over 10 a month. I could add it as something that I want to pay for, but I already paid for Canva. I just don't want to pay for anything else. I did finish the last of my Christmas shopping yesterday. The bulk of it was already done, but I had some gift cards and things that I wanted to pick up for my brother and sister-in-law, and my kids always get like food gift cards and things as stocking stuffers because they're nice and slim and they fit down in the stocking. So we went to our local grocery store to pick up the gift cards because our local grocery has a huge selection of gift cards. Like we had gone to Target. Target doesn't carry Amazon cards for one thing, and they didn't have any of the other ones that we were looking for. Not a huge selection of food ones, and the ones that they did have are those ones where it's like 4 businesses on one card. I don't like those. So because most of the businesses end up being ones that we don't have access to. They're not around here. So it seems a waste of money to get those. Anyway, so we went to our local grocery store because Target didn't have the ones I wanted. Our local grocery was completely out of Amazon gift cards. There were none. And I always get my brother an IHOP card because IHOP is his favorite restaurant and they don't eat out a lot. So I wanted to get him that. They were completely out of IHOP cards too. And they didn't have a ton of selection for the other like food cards that we wanted. So I told my husband, well, let's just go across the street. There's a Walgreens across the street and they have Amazon cards. I knew they would have Amazon cards, and they have a big selection of gift cards too. So we headed over to Walgreens. I found all the ones that I wanted. We get to the checkout, and while we're checking out, the cashier's like, oh, I just need to remind you that gift cards are not returnable. Okay. With so many of the things out there right now, with people telling you to be wary of scams and stuff, because basically people come in and somehow activate and use the cards and then leave them hanging on the racks. And then somebody like me, unsuspecting, buys them and then they're no good. Okay. So she tells me I can't return them. I'm like, so if anything goes wrong, I can't bring them back. She's like, yeah, sorry. Okay. Guess that's a risk I'll take. We've been pretty lucky and we live in a very small area, so I think I'm okay. But then she spends 5 minutes having the cash registers print out all these little gift receipts. And I'm like, but what do I need them for? Those gift receipts are so somebody can return them, and you just told me I can't return them. So why did you just waste all this paper printing all these out for something I can't even do with them? And she just kind of looked at me and then put them in the bag. I was like, I told my husband, I don't understand places sometimes. So they wasted all that ink and paper for literally receipts that no one can use. Like, again, what is the point of printing out, here's the gift receipt to go with this gift that I gave you, but the place that I bought it from won't take it back. So, or does that just mean I could take it someplace, not Walgreens, and be like, here, this is to prove I paid for it. Give me my money back, even though I didn't spend my money at your store. Pretty sure that's not how it works. So yeah, it's just been a crazy week. I think that's everything I wanted to talk about for my life update. So moving on to my diamond painting update. We are hitting the home stretch of 2023, and I gotta say, it feels pretty good. I am making good progress on this particular kit. Like I said, it's been very enjoyable so far, even with all the outlining. I've been putting in some good hours, so I've made some good progress. I think I will finish it before the end of December, which means I may be able to get in some time on another project before the end of the month, which is good. And then after the end of December, I can jump into all of my 2024 projects because some of them are quite large. I did finally receive my Diamond Art Club kit that I bought a couple weeks ago. It was a new release. And I don't know if they've stopped sending emails or just a weird glitch for me. Like usually I'll get an email that says, hey, it's shipped, even though when I go to check the tracking, all they've done is generate a shipping label. But then I'll get an email that says, oh, it's out for delivery. And then another email after I get it that says, hey, it's been delivered. I got none of those this time. I did go in and actually check my account the other day because I realized it had been a while and that seemed weird because it was a new release. They have a new warehouse in Texas. My stuff that I bought on Black Friday, I got within just a couple of days. And it was literally almost 2 weeks before I got this one. But when I checked it, it showed that the shipping label had been generated, but it didn't show anything else. And so I thought, well, that's kind of weird. I hadn't gotten any emails, so I figured it was still just sitting there. And then there's a knock on the door, and there's my kit sitting on the porch. And I was like, well, that's weird. I wonder why I didn't get any emails. I don't know if it's because they're using this new shipping place, this new Shipmonk. So I don't know if you guys saw, I talked about it, I think last week, their video about their showing how their diamond paintings are made. And they were talking about this warehouse. Well, this company, that the shipping company that they're using called Shipmonk, I went to go look them up just because I was curious, because I try to keep an eye out for shipping companies because I do some shipping. Like I don't obviously do shipping on the level of Diamond Art Club, but I'm always curious to see what other people are using. There's like Pirate Ship, which I use. There's ShipStation. There's this Shipmonk. There's a lot of ones out there that you pay for because you do a large volume of shipping. But anyway, I was curious, so I went out and looked it up. The owner of Shipmonk is from the Czech Republic, and he came to the U.S. for school. And it said that when he came to the U.S., he suddenly started getting messages from people back home saying, hey, if I send you the money, can you buy this and then ship it to me? Because there were places in the US that they wanted to buy something from that either they didn't ship to the Czech Republic, or I know a lot of international people have problems with the payment systems that they use because not every place has PayPal. So whatever banking they were using, whatever payment system they were using was not accepted by the US businesses that they were trying to buy from. So this guy started out buying these things and then shipping them home to people. And that morphed into a business. And then they said, you know, they've grown. They now own 7 warehouses, I think it said, in the US. And they also have one in the Czech Republic. And they also have one in Mexico, Canada, and the UK. So they're able to do all this shipping. And I thought it was interesting because I was looking at, well, how does this all kind of work? They bill themselves as a third-party logistics company. But it said that you could, what's the word I want to use here? Not avoid, not get around, but skip paying US customs and duties. Basically, international people ship to the Shipmonk warehouse in California, and then for whatever reason, and they quoted some shipping regulation or something where basically it gets shipped to their warehouse and there's no customs or tariffs or anything that have to be paid, and then they can ship it out from their warehouse. So I'm assuming that lets companies make their international goods a bit cheaper for people in the US because of whatever this shipping rule is. And I don't know what the rule is or how you take advantage of it or but it was on their website, so I thought it was interesting. Anyway, that's me falling down rabbit holes because I see something. In their video, I saw everybody was wearing these Shipmonk shirts. Like, you know, you see Amazon people, all the Amazon workers at Amazon wear a shirt that says Amazon across the top or Prime or whatever. So I was like, well, what's Shipmonk? Yeah, the rabbit holes I fall down. Have you guys seen, speaking of Diamond Art Club, have you seen the new perforated cover sheets? I was watching someone on YouTube, and I don't remember who, but talking about the new perforated cover sheets. So I'm curious if anybody has seen them and tried them. For me, I prefer to section with release paper, so I don't think it will make any difference whatsoever to how I diamond paint. I think it's a cool idea. I think it's a cool innovation to be able to just rip off those sections instead of having to deal with cover minders and stuff. So that's a question too. Does that mean cover minders, people are going to stop using those because you can just rip off the section? Does that mean people are going to stop using washi tape because you don't need to create the sections with washi? Yeah, just lots of questions that I considered. Like I said, I don't think it would make any difference for me. But then I was like, for someone like me with a type A personality, do the little perforations line up with an edge of where the drills would be? Are they going to be, you know, half and half? How's that going to work? Are there going to be people like me who are like, I can't handle it being not lined up? Because I can't imagine that the person placing the cover sheet on, or the machine placing the cover sheet on the diamond painting, is going to make sure that it lines up with the grid on the canvas. You know what I mean? Again, I appreciate the innovation. I like that people are constantly coming out with new ideas. I just am curious how useful people are going to find it. Is this something, like, I'm not in their VIP Facebook group. Is this something they asked people about and people wanted to see? Is this just something they did on their own because they thought people would like it? I mean, it's Diamond Art Club. I would assume they're a big enough company they could do like some focus testing and stuff. Or maybe they just asked people in the VIP group. I don't know, because I'm not in it. So yeah, leave me a comment if you know, was this something they asked in the VIP group? Was this just something they came out with that was kind of a surprise to everyone? How useful do you think it will be? Is it something you'll use, something you'll skip? Is it going to change how you do things? Yeah, I just want to know all the things. Also, I saw, speaking of new things, I don't know if you guys have seen, I know Rachel Ray did a video on it, but I had actually seen them a couple weeks before that from somebody else on YouTube. That Cat Eared has their new tray bricks, I think is the name of them, where they're basically a square tray, but they have like a lid that is hinged that opens up. I saw them and I thought, well, again, that's an interesting idea. I don't know if I would like them or not. Somebody did ask me in a comment the other day if I had tried them yet, and I haven't. Because when I saw them, my thought was, one, I like my trays to have kind of high sides because I pour in a lot of drills because I do multi-place. So I need to have enough room for my pile here at the end without them spilling out. So I don't particularly like trays that have thin walls or short walls like that. So that I wasn't sure I would like. And also because the trays are hinged, that's good for being faster to open and close. But I felt like I would have the same experience with them that I did with the Harbor Freight containers. And that is that hinge section is just going to end up being wasted space and a place for drills to get stuck. So when I like want to hinge it down, I'm going to have to make sure everything's out of the way, or something's going to get stuck. And I also thought, well, I wonder in that instance, how easy is it going to be for the tray or the lid or the hinge to break if I accidentally crunch a drill in there. So I don't know. I don't know if I'll try them out or not. I haven't actually gone out and looked to see where they're at, how much they are, all that kind of stuff. So same question, I guess, for that as the perforated cover sheets. Has anybody tried them? What do you think? Is there anything like things getting stuck or whatever? Is it something that seems like an innovation? I mean, I guess having a hinge is the innovative part. It's not really, you can buy all kinds of trays with lids, so I'm not sure how innovative I find that. But anyway, I have started trying to make a list of small shops that I want to try. That is something I want to do more of in 2024. I didn't do a ton of like small shop hauls. I did a few, but not a ton. I would like to expand my horizons. I know there's a lot more diamond painting companies out there, both companies who actually sell diamond paintings and companies who sell diamond painting accessories. Somebody asked me if I'd tried the cat-eared stuff. Somebody had asked me about, I think it was yellow dog trays. I know there's several small diamond painting companies that I would like to try. Just off the top of my head, the Mermaid Cavern I want to try. Francesca's I still want to try. I haven't got anything from them yet. And then I came across one I think called the Creativity Squirrel. And I know I've got a couple other ones. Like when I'm watching YouTubers and stuff, I will go open the website on my browser on my iPad. And then when I get back into my computer, I will go find the website for the diamond painting company or the Etsy shop or whatever it is and bookmark it so that I know it's there for me to go back to reference when I'm ready to purchase something. But I do want to get some more pens. I do want to try some more trays and cover minders and that kind of thing. So if you have any suggestions, whether it's like a small diamond painting shop, whether it's on Etsy or an actual website or whatever, let me know that. If there's a pin place that you absolutely love, it's like I see places on Instagram all the time. Somebody will post a picture. Oh, I absolutely love, I think Poshy Pins was one I just saw. And I know I've got it bookmarked, but I never remembered to go look for that. I know Norse Alchemist is one that I want to buy from. Oh, I think there's a place called Bijou Bliss I want to try. I think they sell trays. So yeah, interested in any of all, leave me a comment. If you're in the Facebook group, drop something in the Facebook group. If you follow me on Instagram, drop me something on Instagram to someplace that you like. I really want to get one of those fancy pins that has the ring, the movable ring on it. I don't know why. I mean, it has absolutely nothing to do with how the pin functions, but it's so pretty. And also, there are a lot of places that sell like drill blanks, but I've not tried the option of like buying a blank from one place and then going to another place to have the pin made. I just feel like it's an extra step and an extra expense to do it that way. I'd rather just do an all-in-one kind of thing. So am I missing out on some good places because I've opted to do it that way? Yeah, inquiring minds. I'm just full of questions today. All right, what else do I need to talk about? I am trying to, like I said, wrap up projects. This is my last kind of big project for 2023. At least I think it is anyway. I don't think I'm going to get it done soon enough that I'll actually be able to finish any of the other big projects I still have waiting in the wings, which is fine. Even if I just get some hours in on a couple of the other projects, I still basically have, after this one, which is my focus, I have my Comet from Oraloa and the 02 from Mary's Diamonds, back when they were still Mary's Diamonds before Bella bought them. So I have those two kind of waiting in the wings if I want to finish those. So I'm hoping I'll be able to put in some hours on them. I don't think I'll get either one of them finished, but if I can at least put some hours in, then that will be good. And then they'll go back to just hanging on the closet door and taunting me until I get around to finishing them. I have already unboxed what I think will be my biggest project for 2024, and that is my second Josephine wall from Diamond Painting Deutschland. If you didn't see the video for that, go check it out. That was yesterday. It is actually going to be a bigger project than I thought. When I bought it, I thought it had 300 colors. Turns out, not so much. I did get 300 colors, I think, but the canvas only requires 275. It's still going to be the most colors that I've ever done, even though I'm a bit bummed that it's not the 300. But there are some things that I've got to fix. So if you're interested in that, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I'm going to have videos coming out. It is a double-sided adhesive canvas, and it's got some issues that I've got to take care of before I can start working on it. So if you've never worked with double-sided adhesive and you're curious, check it out. If you have worked with double-sided adhesive and you're curious just to see how I fix it, or whether or not I fail, I'm pretty sure I can fix it with no problems. But it's like I said, it's been sitting around for 2 years in the floor of my closet, so I'll just have to see. Anyway, so I've got some issues to fix there, and then I need to figure out how I'm going to approach this. I definitely want to have a plan in place. I don't want this to end up being another heaven and earth design where it just lays on the bottom of my workspace table while I work on other projects and ignore it. I don't want to do that. And I don't want to have it turn into a project that just hangs on my closet door and I never get around to it because I've moved on to other things. So I want to plan how I'm going to do it and kind of really hold myself to that plan. How often am I going to work on it? What's my schedule to try and get it completed? all that kind of stuff, instead of just opening it up and then going, well, this is a project, and just working on it like I do with 90% of everything else. I think it's big enough that it's going to require me to kind of have a plan if I want to have any hope of finishing it by the deadline that I've given myself. So yeah, if you're interested in that, in Josephine Wall or Diamond Painting Deutschland, make sure you also hit that bell so that you can be notified when those videos drop. It is also going to be a mammoth job to kit up all of the drills for that. Even though there's only 275 colors, that is a ton of colors, considering that I think most of my kits hover somewhere in the 55 to 75 color range. For places like Diamond Art Club or Aloha, Dreamer Designs, those are probably the largest kits that I've done and the largest number of colors I've done. Now, I did do my Diana, which was also from Diamond Painting Deutschland and was also a Josephine Wall. It had 250 colors. So I am going to have more colors with this one. And I wasn't as prepared back then. We'll see if that ends up being a good or a bad thing. When I did Diana, I didn't really know what I was getting myself into. So I think I was very naive about how things were going to go. I did love it, and I love how it turned out. I think I'm a little more cautious with my approach with this one because I know some of the struggles that I had with Diana. We'll see. I've got lots of plans for this kit, so hopefully I can keep up with everything, because in addition to that big kit happening at the same time, I'm going to be working on my Want series that I talked about in my 2024 goals. And so I need to unbox and get started on the first kit from that series, which is going to be a Bella Art Diamonds kit. It's one I'm super excited to do. So I'm looking forward to that. But then, you know, that's kind of in the back of my mind. I don't want the next newest shiny to always be my focus, because I do need to get things done. I can't just unbox something and then jump to the next thing and unbox it. Even if I'm excited about all of them, I do need to keep focused and actually finish some things. And all of that while things are going on. Actually, maybe my husband's job situation will have a little bit of a silver lining for me in that, because my anxiety is now ratcheted up to DEFCON 5 levels. Is that right? I can never remember if it starts at 5 and goes to 1, or if it starts at 1 and goes to 5. So whatever the highest DEFCON level is, that's where my anxiety is at. Anyway, because my anxiety is so high, I think I will end up doing more diamond painting than usual, just because I'm going to need that escape. And also, if he's going to be home the entire month of July, I'm going to need that escape, because we're just not used to being around each other 24/7, and we're going to get on each other's nerves. It happens every time. I know it's going to happen. He knows it's going to happen. We've talked about it. It was kind of interesting. I watch these people who, I watch a lot of stuff about narrow boating on the canals in the UK. I followed this one particular couple who are now no longer on the boat. They are in Scotland, which is also, would love to go to Scotland. That's another dream vacation for me. I told my husband I would love to go move to Labrador and Newfoundland in Canada just so I could hear those accents. That would be a dream come true. Maybe we'll just visit there. Or maybe after a while in Canada where we're going to be, we'll just move from there. And I would love to live in Nova Scotia too. There's lots of places we'd like to go. Anyway, what was I talking about? Oh yeah, the narrow boaters. They had an interesting video where they were doing this kind of discussion thing and talking about how them moving into the boat was a huge change for them, because they both at that point had jobs that they both worked a lot of hours. You know, they would work 10, 12-hour days, and then they would come home. And yes, they were at home with each other, but they saw each other for, 3 or 4 hours, and then you sleep. So yeah, you're with your person, but you're sleeping. So does that count as time spent with them? I don't know. Anyway, then they moved on to the narrow boat, and they were basically in this very small space with each other 24/7. Because of the narrow boat lifestyle, their job basically became YouTube and Patreon and merch and everything else that people do when they make YouTube their living. And they did very well at it, but they were discussing how hard it was to go from having regular jobs and dealing with colleagues and everything during their workday, and then them seeing each other in the evenings, to spending 24/7 in this boat that was only wide enough that literally one of them could stretch his arms out and touch both sides of the boat. So they did feel like it was good for their relationship and that they got to know each other very well, but it was definitely growing pains. So I'm curious and kind of trying to keep that in the back of my mind too, that not only with him possibly changing up his work situation to be storm work all the time instead of working for a company where he's home every night of the week, that's going to be a change for our relationship. That's going to be a change for our household because my son still lives with us, and our relationship with him, because it'll just be me and him in the house with my husband's gone a lot. Yeah, so it'll just be different. And also same when we move to Canada, I don't know if he's been storming, if he would continue doing that, if he would want to find work with a contractor or a utility in Canada. It just kind of depends on who's got openings when we go up there. And we've got other questions about how things are going to work too. My husband is diabetic, so he's on some fairly expensive medications. We need to do some research on how expensive those would be in Canada so that we can, be financially prepared for that. Yeah, just some other things like that. What are we going to do? I don't know what the job situation would be for him. And so depending on what he does, that could affect my job situation as well. I mean, I'm hoping to kind of keep it how it is, that I can be sort of unofficially retired. That way I can continue to do YouTube. I've got plans to do, a different YouTube channel. And maybe it won't be the success that I think it will be. Maybe nobody will be interested in how my life in Canada is different from my life in America. Who knows? Like I said at the beginning, it's been kind of a doozy of a week. I think it's lucky that it happened when it did, because we've got the holidays coming up, and so that's going to take some of our focus, but nothing like the holidays, and especially a holiday where you spend a bunch of money typically to make you focus on, well, this was a particularly nasty time of year to lose your employment. But like I said, everything is still kind of up in the air. He thinks that this other contractor is going to pick him up, but now I'm waiting to see, because he really is kind of excited about doing the storming thing with this other guy. He may choose to take that route even if he could get a job where he's home every night. Maybe my son and I will end up getting a dog before we move to Canada. We'll see what happens. Okay, I think I've shared everything I need to share. I think I've talked for long enough, so I think I'm going to stop there. Let me zoom out so you guys can see what I've done. So you guys can see it's not going as fast as I thought it would, because it is quite a bit of confetti to outline everything. It does go faster once I have everything kind of outlined, and then I can fill in. So I do appreciate that it's kind of like a coloring book in that instance. You outline everything and then you fill in all the colors. I do it both ways. I've done, like I did the center of this flower before I put the dark brown around it, but it does make it fun to fill in. So I do see the appeal of doing things like this, and I'm absolutely loving this kit. I can't wait to show you guys how it turned out. I didn't end up adding any bling into it, but I think it has plenty, and I'm excited to see how it turns out when it's completely done. If you want to see some in-progress pics, make sure that you follow me on Instagram or in the Facebook group. I am trying to kind of post some progress updates. I lag it a little bit behind just so I have time to work before I share pictures with you, but yeah, I'm having fun doing that. So go check those out and join the Facebook group or give me a follow on Instagram. I think that's it for me today, guys. Thanks so much for sticking around till the end of the video. Before you leave, don't forget to do all the things. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and hit that bell notification icon so that you can be informed of future uploads. And as always, guys, thanks so much for watching.